Beneath the shadow of ancient trees, where whispers of the past cling to the cool evening breeze, I pen this tale, a chronicle of eerie truths that one might mistake for the makings of a fevered dream. You, the silent reader holding vigil over this page, have likely delved into many a chilling narrative here. But what follows is not a creation of mere fancy. It is a testament to my own experiences, a fragment of my life that trembles at the edge of reality and nightmare. It was in the year marked by the sharp edges of its double zeros, 2007, if my memory dares to serve the truth, that my story takes root. A youth divided between textbooks and toil, I lived dual lives under the weighty title of a working student. My abode was once earthed in the bosom of the province, cradled by the stoic love of my departed grandfather and the unwavering care of my grandmother. Upon his passing, I chose to shepherd my grandmother away from our ancestral home to reside with my aunt in a remote nook of Quezon, a place veiled in layers of verdant secrets and silent histories. I recall the abrupt cessation of my studies and the curious gap year that followed, a decision sealed by necessity rather than choice. My aunt, a figure weathered by loyalty to her employer, managed to secure for me a position within the very walls where she toiled. Despite my age, the establishment's owner, a fellow spirit from our province, took me under his wing, acknowledging the long-standing service of my aunt. Life, as it often does, settled into a tempo of complacency. I found solace in labor and the camaraderie of provincial compatriots who shared the workplace with me. As the sun turned its fiery gaze from summer to autumn, I resumed my education, carving out time between the spaces of society's clock to attend school during the week and fill my station at work on weekends. Joyous and light were the days, and third year of high school enshrined itself in my heart as a pinnacle of bliss. But as the seasons cycled, a subtle dread crept into the picture. The inception of my fourth year brought with it a sense of isolation. My comrades of yesteryear were dispersed to other sections, leaving me solitary in the star section. The once vibrant hallways echoed a hollow tune, and an invisible veil seemed to separate me from my peers, each lost in their own microcosm of existence. When our employer tightened his grip upon hearing whispers of labor disputes, it only added to the chasm that was forming within my spirit. The clanging bells of the school day would bleed into my evening shifts. I found myself trapped in a ceaseless current, struggling to keep my head above water as my grades faltered and my spirits waned. Depression, a shadowy specter, began to coil its tendrils around me. My academic performance, once a source of pride, now lay in shambles, and my teachers, witnessing my descent, offered lifelines in the form of extra projects to salvage my sinking grades. In the quiet hours, I often contemplated the sweet escape of oblivion. The idea would dance at the edges of my mind like a macabre waltz, a seductive partner luring me toward a final, irreversible step. Yet, somehow, I persevered, graduating in a void of solitude, with only the family of a friend to acknowledge the milestone. My entry into the realm of full-time employment ushered me into a newly erected branch of our workplace, an unassuming edifice that seemed to draw a shroud of unease over anyone who entered. The chilling aesthetic of its interior mirrored a sterile hospital, and the echoes of my steps carried a spectral resonance that set my nerves on edge. Compounded by the eerie tales of colleagues who claimed to have a third eye, a growing sense of fear began to nest within my chest. They spoke of unsettling sensations and ethereal visitors that drifted through the corporate corridors. To stave off the creeping dread, I would fill the silence with music, allowing the melodies to act as a ward against the unseen. The true test of my courage came when I was asked to retrieve money from a safe nestled deep within the bowels of the building. With each foray into that secluded space, my heartbeat would thunder in my ears, a grim drum foretelling an unnamed terror. It was here, in the darkest of chambers, that my reality began to fracture. A casual gathering among colleagues took a sinister turn when we crossed paths with an ancient, gnarled tree, a silent sentinel rumored to house beings not of our world. Raised on superstition, my mind shrugged off the stories. However, as the night deepened and spirits flowed, my consciousness faltered. Witnesses later recounted how I fell into a trance, muttering of a white lady before succumbing to the dark embrace of unconsciousness. Awakening to a scene of chaos, I learned of my possession, a claim substantiated by an itinerant healer who pressed a searing talisman to my flesh, branding me with a triangle that burned with otherworldly intensity. The spirit that had claimed me was said to be a restless soul, a university student whose life had been brutally snuffed out and whose remains were disposed of near our building's foundation. It was not alone. I was told there were many like it, wandering souls trapped in unrest. In the wake of the possession, my faith was called into question. The spiritualist spoke of my waning conviction in the divine as an open door through which these spirits could enter. I was urged never to let my belief falter again, lest I invite another such encounter. Over time, under the watchful gaze and protective rituals of the healer, I was cleansed of the specter that had ensnared me. A blessing was finally performed on the workplace, a sanctification that should have preceded its birth. As the rumors of its sinister past began to surface, a collective shiver ran through those who had walked its cursed grounds. In time, I returned, though the shadow of fear never truly dissipated. After 2 years, I bade farewell to the establishment and to the memories that clung to it like cobwebs in forgotten corners. I recount this tale not for accolades or acclaim, but as a record, an affirmation of the extraordinary within the mundane. Anonymity is my shield, so let any real names and places remain veiled, for in the sharing of this narrative, I lay bare a part of my soul. Whether this account sees the light of day or lingers unseen in the depths of cyber limbo matters not. I merely cast these words unto the endless sea, a bottle containing a whisper, a plea, a warning.